This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Last week I lost a friend. His name was Alex. I was on Facebook and I was scrolling through, my news feed and looking at the different posts, and I saw one of his pop up. And it said something about, follow this link and to honor and to celebrate Alex's life. And here's more information about it. And I kind of thought, what is he doing? Why is he joking around? And it's kind of weird talking about himself in the third person. And I realized it wasn't him. It was his family who had gone onto his profile to let all of his friends know that we unfortunately lost him. And I immediately reached out to all of my friends, my mutual friends, because he lives back in New York, so I was reaching out to some of those guys and just to say what happened. And everybody said, I don't know, but we're all devastated and this is really sad. And I didn't know what exactly happened, and I just kind of had thought, knowing Alex, that something really terrible had happened, that he had been hit by a car or something really tragic and very sudden and very unexpected. And it wasn't until a few days later when they had the memorial service. His family, his sister Lauren, his parents, and all of the rest of their family had put together this incredible celebration of his life and had that be the focus. And they also were able to stream it so I could watch it because I didn't have a chance to go back to New York. And so I got to watch it, and I soon realized that the reason why Alex was no longer with us was because he had been suffering from depression and tried every single possible way to be able to move his way through it and wasn't able to do it successfully, to the point where suicide seemed like the only option for him. And I spoke to my friend Scott about it, who was also very close friends with Alex. And he said, Matt, I don't know about you, but when I think of suicide and depression, I kind of think of like the movie version of it, where somebody's huddled in a corner in the deep, dark recesses of their home with no friends, no real family around them, just entirely isolated and sad and just crying all the time. And that just wasn't Alex. Alex was seriously one of the most spectacular people because he just had this incredible bright light that just shone from his existence. And I don't say that lightly. I do not say that about every person. He actually had something pretty special about him. And when I think of him, I actually think of a memory of just being out with him, a few years ago, being out with him and seeing him for the first time that night, and he turned around and just had this big dopey grin on his face because that's just always how he was. He was just such an incredibly loving, smiley, happy person who had so many friends, who had an incredibly loving and supportive family around him. He had a great job. He was doing really well. And he was so smart. He was so smart, not just intellectually, but also emotionally. He had so much there. I've even spoken to Alex before. We've had conversations about mental health stuff and the stigma that exists. And the irony is that we would talk about it, but neither of us opened up and shared our own experiences. I've struggled with depression myself too. I go through that in life. And he was too, in pretty severe ways, and he didn't share with me, so I had no clue. And it just goes to show you how powerful the stigma is around mental health stuff and depression, and how we feel like we need to hide behind a mask and not share that with other people. Especially when it seems like there's no real reason for us to feel what we're feeling because we have pretty wonderful lives. So we keep it quiet. We live in a society that tells us to fix. We need to fix everything, including ourselves and including our uncomfortable mood. We have to be able to get our way out of it, and we come up with all kinds of solutions for how you're supposed to do it. Stop thinking this way, start doing that. And it pulls us out of just being in a complete and radical acceptance for who we are and what we're feeling and what's going on for us in a moment. And we need to be able to practice that much more acceptance, because no matter where you are, and if right now you are feeling like this and you are feeling completely dejected and worthless and hopeless, and you look around and you don't understand why, I'm here to tell you that you don't need to think about what you should be doing or how you should be feeling, that you should be feeling exactly what you're feeling right now, and just let yourself feel it. It's like quicksand. If you try to get yourself out of it and fight your way out of it, you're gonna sink and you're gonna lose your life trying. So please just ease into it and let yourself feel whatever you're feeling, because even though it's not rational, it's normal and you're normal. And we need to be able to practice greater acceptance for ourselves, because that's what true love is. Love is acceptance, even when we don't understand. We need to practice it for ourselves, and we also need to be able to practice it for other people who are seemingly going through something uncomfortable too, and just allow it to exist. I think about these really beautiful words from Maya Angelou talking about what love really is. And she says this: love is liberating. It doesn't bind. Love says, I love you. I love you whether you're in China. I love you whether you're across town. I love you whether you're up in Harlem. I'd like to be near you. I'd like to feel your arms around me. I'd like to hear your voice in my ear. But that's not possible now. So I love you. Go. And so to Alex, I just want to say, though I wish it were in any other way that you would have been able to find peace, I accept that you have found peace, and I'm glad that you have. And so I love you. Go.